A lot of ladies think that, okay, if I start lifting, especially if maybe they're overweight already, they feel like if I start lifting, the all of my fat is going to turn into muscle. So maybe if they have a lot more fat than they want, then they don't want to start lifting it. They think like, okay, I need to lose this fat first because I don't want to turn all, like, it's going to just like solidify the fat and turn it into like this like muscle. And then sometimes you have guys who think the same way too. They want to, you know, they think that they're just going to turn all their fat to muscle, so they just start lifting. So then you have, and my uncle has said this, and we've had people in our family say this to my husband and I, you know, like, why do you guys worry so much about building muscle? Because, you know, as soon as you get old and stop working out, it's just all going to turn to fat anyways. So like that, both ways of thinking about that is completely false. Muscle and fat are two completely different things. They're not interchangeable. So you cannot turn one into the other. Obviously my first reaction was like kind of irritation, but then at the same time I know that like the curse of knowledge, when you know something, you assume that everyone else knows that. So sometimes it's really hard for me to realize that people do still think that. But you cannot turn fat into muscle or vice versa. So if you're lifting just because you want to turn your fat into muscle, then that's not going to work. You need to actually build muscle and lose fat. They're just two different processes. And if you are scared to even start lifting because you think like, I'm too big, all of my fat is going to turn like solid and not go anywhere, that's not true either. You need muscle in order to lose fat. So the more muscle you build, that does help your metabolism. So you don't want to avoid building muscle, but just remember that the muscle is not the fat. They're not the same thing, but the muscle is key to your metabolism. So you want to build the muscle because the muscle is going to be key to your metabolism. And if you are a person who's been dieting for decades, or if your clients have been dieting for decades, you have to remember that like 99.9% of the time, they are in a muscle deficit. They do not have enough muscle to accomplish what they're probably coming to you to accomplish. But yeah, you're going to want to get them into a muscle building phase as quickly as possible. And yes, take them out of the caloric deficit as quickly as you can. Because that's not going to help them build muscle. But fat and muscle are not interchangeable. You cannot turn one into the other. But you do need one, hint, muscle, in order to burn the other fat. Muscle and fat are not interchangeable. You can't turn one into the other. Building more muscle will help you lose more fat, but understand that the process of how you do either are opposites. So building muscle takes more calories, losing fat takes less calories, not as little as you think, not like 1,200 less, but they require two different amounts, and so one can't do the other, and then muscle and fat are two different things, so one can't turn into the other either. So you don't have to worry about that. Just lift, and lift heavy as often as you can. Throw in some HIIT if you like steady state, sprinkle it in here and there, and you will accomplish your goals.